do this. Welcome back to the second episode of the Rundown Podcast. My name is Abe Hicks and my co-host Dylan Kearns, and we're gonna bring you some heat today. Dylan, how you doing, man?
I'm doing.
Did
School's the grind, graduation, Dan Patrick,
always?
all the good stuff. But
Yes, sir.
baseball is constant. That's one thing that is
That is
constant.
true. Every day we get some baseball. Did your Cubbies win today?
They did. They beat the St. Louis Cardinals, who are smoking hot.
Nice.
It was the first time we played them, which is strange. We'll get into
Uh,
that later. But it's wild. Cubs, they beat the Cardinals. I'll tell you, 8-year-old Dylan was sitting there. Albert Pujols came up the bat at Wrigley Field. I was like, good
were you
Lord.
nervous?
In a Cardinals uniform, I was like, this is terrible. This is my childhood. Just like,
Mm-hmm.
this is terrible. I'm going to have nightmares tonight thinking about 8-year-old Dylan watching him smack him onto Waveland during
Yeah.
his prime.
Yeah. Well, good stuff. Good thing they won. Well, my Yankees won today. Completed the sweep against the Angels. And they're keeping it going, man. Best record in baseball. Hopefully they can keep it up. But let's get right into it. Just to give you guys a rundown of what we will be discussing today. We will be talking about the hot and cold players in baseball currently. Who is the king of New York? We know the Mets and the Yankees. They have the two best records in baseball, and they're. I would love to see them go head to head, and we're going to decipher. We will be talking about who is the best team in New York City, and we'll also be talking about the MLB schedules and how clunky it is. I believe that's the best word for it. Would you say clunky?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Unbalanced.
But yeah, it's very unbalanced. But let's get right into it. Hot and cold. And we're going to start off with the hot players. Is it okay if I go first here?
Let it rip.
All right. Somebody who has been scorching hot. Don't touch him because you will hurt yourself. It is Paul Goldschmidt. Paul Goldschmidt has been, it's like somebody lit a fire on his rear end, and he has been going absolutely insane. Let me just read you his numbers from the last 30 games, right? Okay, so he has 44 hits, 11 home runs, 34 RBIs, even has a stolen base in there, batting 389 with an OPS of 466. I don't think anybody was really expecting Paul Goldschmidt to just go on a tear like this. And even for St. Louis Cardinals fans, I know for a while now they've been expecting Goldschmidt and Arenado to really step up, and they have been. But especially Goldschmidt, man, he's been off the charts.
Yeah, he has. And we've seen him play at high levels, right? We've seen him in Arizona just absolutely tear the cover off the ball, go on those stretches. I think it was a few years ago, obviously dating ourselves now because he's been with the Cardinals for a few years. But going back to his Arizona prime days, this was a dude, had that opposite field approach, played great defense. He stole a lot of bases during his career in Arizona as well. This was a dude who was legit. He always started seasons cold and he always finished red hot. They used to call it, when he was in Arizona, the August month of Paul Goldschmidt. That dude would turn it on July, August, and he'd be the hottest hitter in baseball. But now you're seeing it put together in St. Louis. It's taken him a little while. But, this is what Cardinals fans wanted. You have two big names who were massive in Colorado with Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt in Arizona. Those were two staple points, one of the two of the best players in the National League. You bring him to St. Louis, they've been all right. But, if they really want to win something this year, Paul Goldschmidt has definitely contributed to that, and he's found a career resurgence this year, and he looks pretty damn good.
Yeah, I wonder if he can keep that up, for sure. Another player that has been insanely hot, he is from LA. His name is Mookie Betts. Dude has been going crazy this year, and it's so weird for him. Well, I'll explain that after I read his numbers from the last 30 games. But in 123 at-bats, he has 44 hits, 14 home runs, which leads the league in the last 30 games. Attributed to 13 walks, batting 358 with an OBP of 420. And this is so weird about Mookie Betts. He goes on these insane streaks. I would call it yearly streaks. He'll have a year he does so-so by Mookie Betts standards. He'll do so-so, and the following year he'll just go crazy. He'll go MVP Mookie Betts, and he's in that year this year because last year, in his first year with LA, he didn't necessarily have a great year according to Mookie Betts standards. For example, last year he batted 264, only 23 home runs. But this year so far, he already has 16 home runs and batting 306 with an OPS of 1.008. I think he can keep this up because like I said, this is one of those years where, watch out, you do not want to pitch to Mookie Betts.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point there. That's where I was honestly going. Numbers can't tell a whole story, but when you do here with Mookie Betts, I mean, it seems like every other year. And just to piggyback off of that, look at where he finished in MVP voting in all those years, right? That one year hit 318. It all started in 2016 in Boston, finished second in the MVP voting. Next year, finished sixth. All right, that's a down year for Mookie standards. Still finished sixth in MVP voting. Following year, he wins the MVP, right? He's number one. He wins the MVP. Year after that, MVP voting eighth, right? Year after that, 2020 Dodgers World Series champ, MVP voting second. Last year didn't even qualify. He was just an all-star. This year, he's turning it back on. Not saying he's going to be an MVP, but it is strange how he's one of the most valuable players in baseball, top 3 most valuable player in baseball every other year. But after that, I mean, it's strange how he has those little stretches in his career. But this is a guy, I mean, he's already won 2 World Series. He's a focal point of that team. And, I mean, there's so much talent on that LA team that sometimes the Mookie Betts can get overlooked. But 306, 16 homers, I mean, he's getting it done.
As a Dodgers fan, this is what you traded for. You traded for Mookie Betts to be doing this. Obviously, he was okay. He was good. He was good, like I said, by Mookie Betts standards, and this year he's turning it on. I believe also what really helps Mookie is being in that Dodgers lineup where they can't just pitch around him because that lineup is so deep and there's so many good hitters in that lineup where, all right, pitchers are like, okay, we can't not pitch to everybody. We got to pitch to somebody. But I think if he keeps this up, he will be one of those guys where pitchers don't want to pitch to.
Yeah. I mean, you can't. But then again, you just put him on. Then you got Freddie Freeman behind him. Like, I mean, you really got to put the cards in your back pocket there. It's a tough matchup. It's a tough lineup. And Mookie, the way he's swinging it, it's going to be tough to get him out.
Yeah. Well, how about we head to the Mile High City for our next hot player?
Yeah, CJ Cron. Oh, that's where I wanted to go here. And you can say, yeah, no shit, he's having a good year. He's in Colorado. But, I mean, you look at CJ Cron's career, right? 2014 with the Angels, battled injury a lot during his career. Up to that point, he played 113, 116, 100. I mean, he still played a lot of games, but he didn't get near close to 600 at-bats ever. It took him a little while. He battled some injuries, didn't have the home run potential. Goes to Tampa Bay in 2018, hits 30 bombs, right? He had a pretty solid year. Yeah, he was in Tampa for 2018. 2019, Minnesota, he had an all right year. 2020, Detroit, 2021, he goes to Colorado. The guy hits 28 bombs, 281 average. He was a career 248 hitter up to that point in his career. 281, last year in Colorado with the 28 homers, 92 RBIs. This year, a 306 hitter, 13 bombs, 38 driven in. And, I mean, it's sort of weird how late in his career, 31 years old, 32 years old, he's getting that career resurgence. I know you could say the altitude in Colorado definitely helps out his approach there. But, I mean, this is a guy who people were ruling as a potential bust. I know he was a 44th round pick of the Chicago White Sox, but and then eventually went in the first round after college. But, I mean, this is a guy who had high expectations in LA, didn't really live up to him when they needed him to. And right where he is right now, he is on fire in Colorado, hitting over 300, and he's probably on his way to an all-star game.
That's kind of crazy because I didn't realize CJ Cron's basically, he's been around the block. Like, he's been with a lot of teams. I never realized that.
Yeah, he's 32 years old, and it's just now clicking for him. It's strange how that happens to some players. Now, Goldschmidt's on a different level. Like, this dude's he's done it before, and he's not anywhere near it. But CJ Cron has really played himself into one of the best first basemen in baseball right now.
Pretty crazy. Let's move on to our last hot player in this segment. And he plays for the team that the hat that I'm currently wearing, he's a pitcher. His name is Shane Mcclanahan. Oh my gosh. This guy, middle name is Filthy because that is what he is. He is absolutely disgusting. Let me just read you his numbers from this past month, okay? 4-0, ERA 1.15 in 5 games. He only allowed 21 hits, 4 earned runs with 39 strikeouts in 5 starts and a whip of 0.83 and an opponent batting average of 189. Folks, he is allowing less than a hit in his last 5 starts. He's been on a tear. And I think what really makes Shane Mcclanahan so scary is his pitch mix. But not just his pitch mix, but how hard he throws. His four seam can get up to, his four seam is in the high 90s. Has a very nice curve. His changeup is close to 90 miles per hour, and his slider is close to 90 miles per hour. I don't know where the Rays find these guys. I have no idea, but it is an art what the Rays do year in, year out. We get these guys we've never heard of from the Rays, and they just dominate, and it makes no sense. I don't understand.
Yeah, you call up someone from the minor leagues and you're Tampa Bay and you're going up against them. You're like, crap, this guy's going 7 innings against us and we're getting our ass kicked. I mean, that's how it is when they go about it. Like, you traded Blake Snell, right? This is who they wanted. But like, they reinvent the wheel, whether it's David Price, left-handed arm, getting it done. Let's trade him. All right, let's get him out of here. Okay?
Yep.
We got Blake Snell coming. Blake Snell starts shoving, right? Let's get rid of him. Ryan Yarbrough for a year, right? Left-handed arm, getting it done. Sign a Rich Hill, get it done. Here, insert Shane Mcclanahan. They've had a good left-handed pitcher for years. And whether it's Price to Matt Moore to wherever they go, they find these random names that just get it done. Now, Price, I know Vanderbilt, that's a big name. He got it done there.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's Shane Mcclanahan. This guy's been on an absolute tear. It's sad that someone as good as Shane Mcclanahan is getting overlooked because he plays for Tampa Bay. And it's such a small market, and they start winning games. They're a team they're not appointment television. I think you could say the New York Mets are appointment television, but not the Tampa Bay Rays. You're not turning them on to say, oh, I need to watch Randy Arozarena tonight. You know, it's not someone you really turn on the TV and watch, and it kind of goes overlooked. And he's been on a tear.
Yeah, it's pretty insane what he's doing. The AL is stacked with pitching. It's kind of insane. But we just did the hot players. Now we're going to move on to the cold players in baseball. And Dylan, I know you're fired up about this one. You can start it off.
Yeah, I'm going to go with, here we go. Let me move my mic for a second. I got the shirt on today. El Mago, right? El Mago. See, it's Javier Baez. El Mago, if you don't know, it means the magician. And he reached into his bag of tricks as a magic man and definitely tricked the Detroit Tigers into giving him $140 million across 6 years while he's swinging that magic wand at everything that comes up there. And he keeps flailing at everything as a human air conditioner because he's hitting 197, 3 homers on the year. His defense has been atrocious. And Abraham, he struck out 41 times. 41 times this year, right?
That's not good.
Last year, the guy struck out 53 with the Mets. That was in 47 games. I'll be at that. But, I mean, this guy, he's just a swing and miss machine. Thank goodness. I mean, if he was playing in Miami, fans would love him because he'd give more air to their stadium. He would help them out. I mean, Detroit, he went to a cold place. That's not going to help with fanning the fans off with what they got going on. I mean, this guy, 0.4 wins above replacement this year. That's pretty bad. And who was your replacement? It was a Harold Castro. Like, this is ridiculous. He absolutely robbed the Tigers. He's not doing anything to their franchise, and he's sitting them down. AJ Hinch has put him on the bench the last 3 days, just calling it a mental health break because he needs it. He's in a slump right now. He can't get anything done, and he robbed him. His glove hasn't transferred over either. He's made a ton of errors on the year. He has been atrocious for the Tigers, and they don't need that. They need someone that can go in there and help them out. They need as much help as they can get. He hadn't done it.
Yeah, he has the 4th lowest batting average in all of baseball, which is, who would have thought that from Javier Baez, one of the most exciting players in baseball to watch, and he was even on the cover of MLB The Show, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
2 years ago. So this guy was once the face of baseball, you can say, or in the discussion for being the face of baseball, and he has fallen. He's fallen hard, very hard, and I'm honestly surprised. I know you're happy since you're a Cubs fan. I know you're happy they did not re-sign him.
I wouldn't have minded. I know he sucks right now, and this is why he's in our cold segment. But, I mean, that guy, at the end of the day, he's a performer. People buy tickets to go see Javier Baez play. They don't buy for Randy Arozarena or Shane Mcclanahan. They buy for Javier Baez, right? He's that prize ticket. He's a performer. He'll get stuff done, and he makes plays on a nightly basis that says, wow, remember when Baez made that play when I went to that game 10 years ago? Like, he's a point. He's someone you do want to watch.
He is.
Even if it sucks.
Is. All right, moving on to the next cold player who has been shivering, and has been struggling. He is from the Seattle area, and his name is Robbie Ray. Guys, let's remember, he won a Cy Young last year. It's Cy Young. This is a Cy Young pitcher, correct? And he got banked this past offseason. The Mariners, signed him for 5 years, $115 million. Well, what has he done recently? 2-4 with a third highest ERA with 5.50, and has allowed 7 home runs and 12 walks. The Seattle Mariners, you got fleeced. You guys are supposed to be... Everybody is pulling for you guys to possibly win the AL West and make a push in this postseason. We all know you haven't made the postseason in a generation. We know that. And Robbie Ray was supposed to help. And he is not helping you guys at all. It's fairly disappointing because you guys got hoodwinked and robbed.
Yeah, they did. And you bring up that point right there about getting to the postseason. The Mariners every year. I mean, I'm not even a Mariners fan. I mean, baseball fans, that's us, right? We bring baseball content to you guys. That's what we do. All of baseball. Every single person that is not in the AL West should be rooting for the Mariners just to get there, man. I mean, it's been so long. And
we're tired of seeing the Astros.
Yeah, well, not only that, I mean, just get to the playoffs, man. I mean, they expanded it for a reason. Maybe it helps out a team like Seattle. DePoto's been so damn aggressive when it comes to the moves he's made, trading for an Adam Frazier. Like, anything that he has to do, he does. And he's doing everything he can. And he overpaid for Robbie Ray, who's looked pretty atrocious right now. Hadn't had a great year until last year, so that was definitely a red flag when you see one. But, I mean, it's just a tough spot for him going over to Seattle. They just need to figure it out. Seattle needs to do something that says, hey, let's get winning baseball back because we just need to get into the playoffs. Last year, they came so close. Down to the final 3 games of the year, they just needed some help, and they couldn't get it, and they couldn't win. They need to start winning ball games, and Robbie Ray needs to be that ace they paid him to be.
I agree. Now we move on to our last cold player of the segment. Or do we have one more, Dylan? Or is
just one more?
One more? All right. Okay. And everybody knows I'm a huge Yankees fan, the biggest Yankees fan out there. But me being me, I am also honest and I am just. I give credit to where credit is due, and if you aren't playing well, you deserve to be called out. And Mr. Anthony Rizzo, my man. Now I know people are gonna come at me and they're gonna be like, "Did you see what he did tonight? He hit the game-winning 2-run single." And I get it, I understand, and I hope he turns it around. But recently speaking, he has not been very good, okay? Now, we all know he had the worldly first month in April. Ended up getting a Player of the Month card at MLB The Show. Like, the guy was going insane, led the league in home runs for a little bit. But, man, he has fallen hard. In the last 26 games, he's batting 176 with 19 strikeouts. He just hasn't been able to get it done for the Yankees. And I really hope he turns it around because he is a vital piece to the New York Yankees team. Especially if they want to make it to the World Series. They need Anthony Rizzo to be balling out and not batting 176.
Well, that's what you're getting. He's the opposite. He's the opposite guy here of C.J. Cron or of Paul Goldschmidt. He's the opposite of Paul Goldschmidt. His great years were behind him. Guy hasn't hit above 248 since 2019. Like, you know what you're getting with Anthony Rizzo here. He's someone who used to be able to hit lefties. He has a great 2-strike approach, and he's a streaky hitter. He always has that back he deals with. He might hit the shelf soon. Like, there's always a back that he deals with. There's always something that he deals with. And he's a streaky hitter, right? I mean, he goes in stretches now at this point in his career. He's getting a little bit older. If you want him to be Anthony Rizzo from the Cubs World Series days where he's 27, 28 in his prime, that's not coming back, man. Yeah. That's not coming back. That's why he only got $32 million with an option. Like 2 years, 32, that's not a lot of money for him. You don't need him to be you're not paying him to be the superstar first baseman. You're paying him to be Anthony Rizzo. And this Anthony Rizzo is one you're going to see who has a good 2-strike approach. He helps. He's a contact hitter. He'll help out that lineup a little bit. He's just scuffling right now, which fits the cold segment. But I wouldn't beat him down at any point because of the way he's playing. He'll be all right.
Yeah, and of course, like the big hit tonight, that was huge. Hopefully that can get him going. And but obviously his defense is so key. His defense has helped the Yankees so much and has been a total upgrade from the first basemen they have had in the past few years. Speaking of New York, let's move on to the next segment. Who is the king of New York? Who is the best team in New York? Who at the end of the day is lighting up that Empire State Building? Who is it in your opinion, Dylan?
It's the New York Mets. And I'll say the New York Mets because of this. I've done a few assignments on them during my school program. The no-hitter was nice, cool. They got moments throughout their year that have been pretty cool. They come back. They show so much resiliency. This team has come back from games. That Giants game, they were down 8-2. Francisco Lindor starts swinging it. Dom Smith drives in runs. There you go. Holy crap, you're up against the Giants. Like, they take the lead. They ended up dropping that game. But this team shows so much fight. And that's something they haven't had the last few years. And they're battling so much injury right now. And they always do, albeit that's probably going to be one of your points. But, I mean, Francisco Lindor has been swinging it a little bit better. I know he had that tough stretch that he had early to start May. This guy's had 19 RBIs the last 2 weeks. I mean, he has been on an absolute tear. And the pitching has been down right now. You don't have Scherzer. You don't have DeGrom. You don't have Tyler McGill. But they're still finding ways to win baseball games. And that shows to what this team can do getting into the later months. I know they're always a first-month team. That's all right. All right. I think once you start getting healthy, you'll really see who this New York Mets team is. And they're starting to swing it right now. And one more point I want to make about the Mets. Last year before that, the whole manager situation was rough. Luis Rojas, you bring in a veteran in Buck Showalter. He's really changed that clubhouse. He's winning you baseball games because of his decision-making, when he plans to use Edwin Diaz. All that stuff that Buck Showalter brings to this team has really contributed to their 35-17 start. Even with the injuries, he's maximizing the roster potential, and they're getting wins out of guys that they probably shouldn't have if Buck Showalter wasn't there.
Yeah, and I want to give credit where credit is due. So I believe the Mets are good. The Mets have a really good roster. I know as a Yankees fan, I'm not going to discredit them at all. But I know you're probably thinking, a lot of people are thinking, other than Mets fans, obviously, oh man, their pitching is holding it down. No, it's not. You know what's keeping them, you know what's winning them games? It's the bats. That lineup is winning them games. For example, the Mets pitching staff, they're not top 10 in any of the main pitching categories in baseball. Obviously, that will change once Max Scherzer comes back and DeGrom, they come back healthy. Listen to this. This is what the Mets offense has been doing this year. They're second in batting average, second in OPS, and they put the ball in play, Dylan. They are seventh in the lowest strikeouts, and they're leading the league in RBIs. So when they get these guys on, they knock them in, and they don't strike out. They put the ball in play, and that's what winning teams do. Mm-hmm. Now, I said all that good stuff about the Mets, but here comes the downfall. We see this a lot of times with the Mets. Can they keep this up? Can they stay healthy? Can that rotation stay healthy? The rotation so far has held it down without DeGrom and a little bit so far without Scherzer. But I have my doubts. I have my doubts just because of what we have seen the past few years with the Mets. But we'll see. We'll see. Now, I believe the New York Yankees are the best team in New York without question. Kind of the opposite from the Mets. You would think that the Yankees' bats are flowing, and that's what keeping them in the games. It's the Yankees' pitching. The Yankees have the best pitching in baseball. Nestor Cortez. At this point, he's probably going to be the all-star starter for the AL. Nestor Cortez has been amazing. Garrett Cole has turned it around. I know he's been getting a lot of crap, especially had an awful start to the year, but he's been amazing. And Jameson Taillon, JMO, he has been solid, man. He's been really good. Tonight, he threw a perfect game through 7. Like, he has really turned it around for the Yankees, and that bullpen's disgusting. Clay Holmes I'm convinced he practices witchcraft because the way you see his pitches move, it's honestly disturbing. But the Yankees pitching, they have held it down. They have the best ERA in baseball. They're 5th in strikeouts. They have the best whip and the best opponent batting average. So I believe that pitching, ultimately, that's what wins you games. But at the same time, pitching, defense, and timely hitting, that's what wins you in postseason. And the Mets have that timely hitting. I can't lie. But the Yankees pitching has been so good, and that's why I believe they are the king of New York.
They're good, right? They're doing things right, and that's huge. But as much as you want to say it, I'll say it right here. I like Buck Showalter more than I like Aaron Boone. I do. And I know Buck's been out of the game for a little bit, but I like in a do or die situation, postseason on the line, I think Buck Showalter makes a better move than Aaron Boone. And I think that's what separates the Mets from the Yankees. The Yankees have been absolutely incredible. I'll piggyback off of that. Their starting rotation's been insane. You talk about their bullpen, and Aaron Judge has been an MVP. I mean, that guy, pencil him in. You know what? Sharpie him. Sharpie him right now as the AL MVP, because if that changes, I don't know. I'll dance in the street to Jingo music. I don't know the hell. I mean, it's ridiculous. Aaron Judge is winning the MVP. The Yankees are a solid team. Their offense, I think, can be streaky at times.
That's what scares me too.
It has to carry. And I'll say this as a 2016 Cubs fan, right? In 2016, you saw the pitching dominate, but you felt okay with that. If you're winning games because Lester, Arrieta, Hendricks are shoving, you're going to know come the end of the year, Lester, Arrieta, Hendricks are shoving. And John Lackey, guys that have proven it. The Yankees, Jameson Taillon's been pretty good. Taijuan Walker was good for half a year last year. Nestor Cortez has looked good. I mean, he piggybacked off last year. I think he's been solid. Yeah. Nestor Cortez, I give the benefit of the doubt. We've seen Cole have good and bad stretches. I didn't trust him at all in that wild card game. I didn't trust him at all.
He scares me.
He scares you in a big game.
All right. Here's why he scares me.
Playoffs.
This is what will redeem Garrett Cole. The next time they go in the Fenway, he absolutely shoves and he pitches his tail off and he shuts him out. Or maybe not a shutout, but he just shoves in Boston at Fenway. That will give me confidence back in Garrett Cole to throw in the biggest game in the postseason.
Too bad they never play at Fenway, right?
Yes. Speaking of, the schedule is I feel like the MLB have the weirdest scheduling. It makes no sense to me. Can you make some sense of it, Dylan?
I can't wrap my head around it. Every single year I'm sitting here like, well, wait a minute. It's early June. Today's June 3rd, right? Cubs just now played the St. Louis Cardinals. Meanwhile, they've beat the hell out of the Pirates and the Brewers, and they're playing them every single day. They played the Reds once. They're playing the Cardinals just now in June. This does not make sense to me, and I'll bring something up. I think the way they need to schedule division games, break them up evenly, right? Play the Cardinals early in the year, play a team here. Don't shove so many games in one calendar month. The Cubs right now, they play the Brewers right before the All-Star break. They don't play them again till late August. That's a division opponent. You're taking months break from a time against a division opponent. You didn't see the Cardinals for 2 months. You didn't see the Reds for a month and a half. This is not just the Cubs. The Yankees haven't played the Red Sox. They're supposed to opening weekend. Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, every single team, the way the division things are set up, the Cubs play the Diamondbacks on a weekend. The very next week, the Diamondbacks are in Chicago. Like, you're playing the two teams that you're supposed to play on the West Coast. You get a West Coast trip, and they send them right back the next week. Yeah. Break it up. Every single year, the Cubs start in Atlanta in April, and then the Atlanta Braves come to Chicago in late April. Every single year, they break up the way the NL East play each other. Who you're playing in your own league is strange, because it's like you play your West Coast and then the West Coast comes to you the next week. It makes no sense whatsoever.
I agree. For example, the Yankees played the Orioles. They played the Orioles in 3 different series this year, and we won't see them again probably until later in the year. But honestly, I would rather see the division opponents in the last few weeks of the year. But I agree. I believe it should be broken up because you know, like, for example, where I'm currently located, I'm in the Midwest, and I want to go see, if I want to see the Yankees in Detroit, that I can only see them in early April, May, because they're not going to come back. And I don't like the way that is. I also believe that every single MLB team should play each other. There is no excuse for that. There is 163 games, and you're telling me
162.
Oh, sorry. There is 162 games, and you're telling me that every team can't play each other? I can't tell you the last time the Yankees have gone to I can't tell you the last time they've been to Wrigley Field. It's been a while.
Yeah, I mean, it has been a while. It's been since that Sunday Night Baseball game,
2017.
2017.
One of those
17.
years.
But listen, Abe, you didn't crunch the numbers when you thought about this. And I'm sorry to break it to you. You said 162, right?
Sorry about that.
Well, if you play 29 baseball teams, Abe, that a 3-game series, that's 87 games a year against literally everybody. You got your division. You're not going to play anybody.
Have 2-game series.
That's just stupid. Now you're just stupid. You want to fly to you? Okay, you're the Tampa Bay or you're the New York Yankees. You want to fly to LA for 2 games and get your happy ass back to New York to go back to LA and Anaheim and then go like
no. Have the schedule set up where we play everybody on the West Coast.
So you want to play 2 in San Francisco, you want to play 2 in Oakland, you want to play 2 in LA, 2 in LA,
Why?
2 in Anaheim.
No.
You're spending a 2 whole weeks.
Wait a minute.
In California. What about Colorado? You want to go back out to Colorado to play the Rockies? You want to go to Arizona?
Yes, they can come. They can come to New York.
It's a 3-week road trip.
Wait a minute. I'm not saying it has to be a home and away series. I'm just saying at least play each other throughout the year. That's all I'm saying. And there's already 2-game series within the interleague series.
Yeah,
that already happens, and I think it's definitely possible. Maybe I need to go back and do the math on it, but I think there's no excuse for it. So
you can't play everybody. Can't play everybody.
Come on, yes you can.
I think you got to stick with the division. The way that it's set up.
Play the divisions.
Just break up the games, right? Just break up the games. Like,
I don't know, man. I want to see everybody play everybody. It happens in the NBA. Obviously, it happens in the NHL. I want to see it in baseball. They have the most games out of all the leagues.
I want to make one more point. The NFL doesn't do it.
They got 17 games.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not enough time.
But anyway, I wanted to make one more point. The reason I'm pissed about this, and it got me a little bit fired up this afternoon, I know I'll take a chill pill. You look at like the Washington Nationals, right? Their 19-32 start. What if you're a team like the Philadelphia Phillies and you get to beat the hell out of the Nationals because of the way the schedule's set up? Yeah. What if, just miraculously, what if the Milwaukee Brewers were to make the playoffs by 2 or 3 games? And the reason they get those is because they played the Cubs in April and May, and they didn't play them late in the year. Like, you're playing a completely different team. If the Phillies were to play the 19-32 Nationals in the second half, they get their ass kicked. And that's why it's got to be broken up.
Probably. I know. I mean, honestly, if you want to win a division, it's all about beating up on the bad division teams. That's what the Rays did last year. They just beat up on the Baltimore Orioles. That's what you got to do to win a division. So I believe that every single team should play everybody. That's my gripe. Dylan disagrees, but maybe we can discuss this again next week. That is all for the show, guys. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. This podcast will also be on Spotify. Follow us on our social media. We are on TikTok at The Rundown Media. We are on Instagram at The Rundown Media 01. We are also on Twitter, The Rundown Media. And yeah, give us a follow, man. We're trying to blow this up. We just want to come to you and talk and give you honest baseball content. That's what we're all about. You guys have a good one. See you next week.
Peace out.